So I have today with me my good friend Pablo. Pablo, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
And we're kind of hoping this maybe is the inauguration of our show on which we talk about things that are going on in other parts of the world other than the USA, because like when Salam and I do the show, we talk a lot about the USA, and when I try to get Britain and Ireland in there as well. But like this is like a whole other perspective of the world. Pablo's from South America, Argentina to be exact, almost in Bolivia, in the northern part of Argentina. So yeah. So anyway, what do you want to do? Like we'll just do an introduction. Tell me a bit about you. You live in Barcelona. How you got here, and then we'll go on from there. Good.
Good, okay. Well, I'm Pablo. I'm from Salta, as you said before. It's northern part of Argentina. The northern part, in the border with Bolivia, Chile, and Paraguay, really. I came here during a crisis of 2002, so I'm kind of veteran of every crisis.
Yeah, you've kind of managed to live in through all the crises.
Yeah. I got a master on crisis in 1975, I think. Yeah.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
That's So you're the perfect authority to talk on all the bullshit that we talk about here.
Yeah, I can say the forecast when a crisis is coming. I can see the clouds.
Yeah. And what's your forecast for the moment?
We are in a crisis already.
Yes, we are. Yeah. Is this the final crisis? It could be the final crisis.
Yeah, maybe for some people.
Yeah, for some people.
Yeah.
For most of us.
Yeah, for most of us, that's it.
Yeah. Anyway, so the idea I had was I thought we'd maybe do like something like even like a weekly show of like to work in with the show that Salam and I do every week as well, is to talk about what's going on in that part of the world, to give us like an idea of other stuff that's going on. Like, for example, like there's been like they were running riots in the streets for the last few weeks in Ecuador. I think it's calmed down a bit now, but like there was lots of stuff going on, and so just like tell me like sort of what's on your mind in terms of like from South American perspective.
No, what is happening basically in South America is like inequality is increasing. So it's not only riots in Colombia. Colombia is a massive riot. That's why it's in the news. But in Argentina, there are protests every day. They are protesting now for the income for everybody, for the universal income. That is something they are talking in Europe as well. But the way they are telling us the news is like it's not the worldwide crisis. They put like different compartments. Like everyone thinks like it's local news, when it's a global thing like it's going on everywhere. But in South America it's first because inequality is higher.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And like I hear what you're saying about like the balkanization of the crisis. So like it's like you only look at your own. It seems like it's easier to concentrate people and not let them sort of work with each other and realize they all have the same problems. If it's like just your country and just your country and just your country.
Totally, yeah. Or make another think that someone is guilty of this one about our political leaders, that they are not really leaders. They are not leading anything, and they don't have the solution for anything.
Yeah. They're just like caretakers of the caretakers for the elites that are running the entire thing. And I mean, I just wonder, like in Argentina, has there been any change, like in terms of the way people are? I don't know. Have things gotten any better for people at all, or is it just steadily worse, or what's going on?
The difference in between Argentina and the rest, that's why is not the social situation is kind of the same as the rest of South America, but it's a lot of state help. So it's not becoming violent, but it's about the expertise Argentina got about previous crises. So there was a lot of help. There was help during the COVID crisis. So people is giving what they call planes sociales, which is like a minimum money they get if they send their kids to school.
Right.
And it's and there's another thing like it's different. It's like the people who is in the not regular economy, they go to ministry, and they got social organizations, and they have they can talk with them. It's a ministry, just basically a ministry of poor people. You know?
So like a local organizations on a local level kind of thing, like more.
Yeah, they are calling organizaciones sociales. That they are basically what the state is absent in, but it is absent in many places, like to give food or things like that. The own people has organized themselves to supply the absence of the state, and the government had made a ministry for them. There's a ministry, it's a ministry of defense, and it's a ministry of them for social things.
Okay.
So that's the way they found to stop the riots in the street. They are protests, but not riots.
Yeah. I mean, this is why we don't hear about them, because they're not riots. We only hear, we heard about the ones in Ecuador because they were riots and people were burning shit. And they're, and we hear about, like this week we hear about Sri Lanka. I know that's not in South America, but we hear about Sri Lanka because they stormed the president's house and they stormed the prime minister's palace or whatever the fuck. And but we don't hear about the regular protests on the street everywhere else. And it's everywhere. And that's been my point all along. It's everywhere.
And don't you think it's because they don't want the people who it's outside of the system to organize themselves and found their own way to survive outside what we call the system?
I think that's probably right. I think people are just I don't know. I think that the system is all powerful and wants to keep you from doing too much to break out of their control, you know what I mean? And so I guess like the same thing is happening in like all over South America, and every country in South America is like, but for me, from the news that I see, it seems like there may be like the grip is like loose a bit, but the grip is not as strong. Like for example, like the Colombian, the elections in Colombia, and in Ecuador. Ecuador is they're on the brink of like. They're on the brink of being like total revolution there, and Chile and stuff. It seems like it's like it's turned a little bit.
It is, but it's more because you don't want to talk about the states, but it is because the state is losing what they call the hegemony. Hegemony. They are not. They used to have the 40% of wealth of the richness of the wealthiness of the world.
Yeah, sure.
And now they retreat a lot because of China, and countries are less scared of them.
Yeah.
So they are losing power. That's it.
I mean that was one of the things I wanted to talk about, which was very funny, which was the Organization of American States summit meeting in Los Angeles, where like the Mexican president didn't go, and in protest that it was like a big. I mean, there's a big country for the Organization of American States to lose Mexico, and the Mexican president didn't go because Nicaragua and Venezuela and Bolivia, I think, and Cuba were all banned from attending. They had, instead of having a representative from the Venezuelan government, they had Juan Guaido, who's just a nobody, was there. Yeah,
totally. But as Evo Morales says yesterday in an interview, like it was quite interesting. They said like it used to be a shame to not be a part of the American states organization. And now countries are proud to don't go to the summit. That used to be embarrassing. Now so that's part of the power which has been lost by the states lately.
I saw a thing today when I was doing some searches to look for some information that I was looking for, and one of them was the Mike Pompeo, the American Trump guy, was the Secretary of State, and he had previously been the head of the CIA. And he said that the Organization of American States, I listened to the speech, is the premier institution as a beacon of freedom in the Western Hemisphere. And I was just like, well, it's no wonder nobody wants to go to the fucking thing, because if that's what he's saying about it, then it's exactly the opposite of that. An interesting thing, and I told you this before, and I sent you the search that I did. I was looking for that clip of this independent journalist who stood up and like basically screamed at, what was that, the guy's name, the lawyer in
Almagro.
Yeah,
the Uruguayan, supposed to be the president of the organization, so supposed to be a very important guy.
Yeah.
And suddenly someone.
And this kid just got up and like called him a murderer and like a liar and a thief, and it just like really just like excoriated him, and it went like viral. And for like And he went at it for like a good, it's like a minute and a half, and you could see the kid was like going like, no, you're a murderer, you're a scumbag, you're this, you're that, and then like expecting somebody was going to grab him and make him stop, but like nobody came, so he just kept going. It was fucking great, and he kept going and he kept going and he kept going, and he just was like destroying this guy, and the guy kept saying, no, that's not true, no, that's not true. That's all he could say.
Yeah, he said, you're not well informed.
You're not well informed, yeah. But the thing was, I was looking for that because I'd seen that clip, right? I was looking for that clip today, and this is the thing that I sent you before, and I'm going to put that up like when I do like a page to as this episode. This is going to be the title page. On the search that I put in protester shouts at OAS chief, right? And then I put protester, I put like a load of different things in that search trying to find that clip, and I could not find it. It didn't come up. And I put in protester shouts at OAS Summit LA, right? And you think in a search that's going to give me everything that was from that, right? And I backspaced one backspace, and the drop-down menu for the searches came up Barack Obama singing, Barack Obama dancing, Barack Obama playing basketball. It was fucking, I was like, what the fuck? So that I'm allowed to look for that.
Yes,
but I'm not allowed to look for the actual thing that I'm fucking looking for. And it wasn't until you sent it to me, it was like, because you knew the guy's name and all the stuff. I had all the information, but I didn't know. So, like even that kind of shit, and that was like, that went viral, that clip, but it's just disappeared. Like instantly disappeared. And this is the kind of thing, we're not getting the information about stuff like that.
Let's try with Siri next. Ask Siri.
Ask Siri, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Would you like me to buy you a bam, bam, bam? You know what I mean? Would you like to purchase a Barack Obama T-shirt? Perhaps I can buy you. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Siri. That's great. I'd like my Barack Obama hot thermal beverage mug now, please. Thank you. I was actually looking for the thing where this guy fucking destroyed you for being fucking savage, like the most craven politicians in the world. But I'll take the Barack Obama T-shirt anyway. It's fine. Yeah. So,
the access to information are free. But I think sometimes 90% of people think the same way, but there's an official version of things happening that doesn't match with what you see or what you read or what you call friends in your own country. Like it doesn't appears in the news, and the official version is like something like a Truman Show thing.
It's very much like the Truman Show. It's like like when you read a history book, like when you're in school and you're only like 12 years old and you read a history book and it tells you the history of like it's so,
easy. Simple, yeah.
But it's like they're doing that about shit that happened yesterday, right now.
Exactly the same, yeah.
Yeah. And they talk about like sort of George Orwell and 1984 and shit, but this is what they're doing. I mean,
they put the good ones are the bad ones, and the good ones always win, and the bad ones always lose.
Exactly.
And that's
it.
Yeah. Like 2 months ago, Russia was losing the war, and Putin was almost dying. And it was every analyst, every guy who's supposed to be an expert in every news with glasses and a tie was saying exactly the same shit in different language in every news in the main hour in every country. So it's it's kind of shit, isn't it?
I mean, this is why what's the sort of in like Argentina, like now what's the sort of makeup of like what's going on in terms of like who's in charge and who's doing, is it moving left or right, or what's with Argentina? I know because Argentina is like a complicated history of.
Well, the main problem in Argentina now is the IMF is running the economy, so there's nothing good coming from them, and what the society is asking is just don't pay.
Yeah.
And fuck off.
But Argentina's done that a few times.
Yeah, but every time they don't pay or they pay all the debt, once by elections they came in new liberal, what they call new liberal, with this very nice name for shit politics, and they go straight to them and ask for money again, and then they give you the conditions to give the money back.
Yeah.
In fact, if we make a parallelism with Ukraine, they're in the middle of the war, but the first institution who went there was IMF.
Oh,
if it's not the
absolutely.
first, was the second. You know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So now they pretend to say that there's it's a different IMF which is lighter, but the politics are exactly the same. What they are acting is exactly the same. Adjustment, have your pay more tax, pay the tax, have the tax balance proper, and don't and cut retirements, cut with social health, social plans for people.
Yeah.
And the poor people knows that they have expertise on them, so they don't want to pay the IMF. When you have a 40% of poor, when it was a country which used to have like 10% in the 70s before the dictatorship, just nothing to lose, you know, just don't pay and that's it.
Yeah, I don't see why that. Why don't they just not pay?
Because the government you have doesn't represent the real people. That's what democracy is being run all this time.
And what about the sort of the social groups that you were taking, the sort of the organizations, the social organizations? Do they not have like people? Can they not sort of get into government, like like to the next step of government? Or
they try, but we have the Peronismo, which is very strong. That and the Peronismo is supposed to represent the idea, all the poor's idea, the idea of the worker classes, and this. It was traditionally like that.
Yeah.
But they are losing that power.
Yeah.
So that's why they are giving part of the government. They have an insight.
They tend to be very sort of right wing anyway. The Peronistas.
They are.
Yeah.
They say that. They say that they are. They said we're not a party, we're a movement. So everything can be inside, like left or right. But basically, they're supposed to be left, but they are pro-market, pro-free market.
Yeah, I mean, I was only talking about this the other day about like the Peronistas were like, they were right wing, but they gave you shit. They gave you like housing and education and
They saw the opportunity because sometimes all these social things you conquer and supposed to be conquered, it's conquered by the people. If you see how many countries today got obligation to go to the army, even no one.
Yeah.
But or how many countries don't used to have the right to don't work on Saturdays and Sundays. I call the English Saturday.
Yeah, that's gone. That's going away. Yeah,
but in that time was coming in all around the world, and Perón would have the side to see how the world was moving. So he put these laws that it will come anyway. If he wasn't him, will be another one. But he was smart to see. Now at the end of the war, we're rich enough, so we put all the social laws, and it was good for the people, But
yeah. But I mean, I think this is what I'm worried about, is that there are so many problems that are caused by like the concentration of money and power at the top. But it's not going to be a revolution of sort of the left and the socialists. It's going to be a left of the right and the fascists. And they are going to be the ones who kind of, because they realize, well, that if we just give people shit, they'll be okay. I mean, they're going to follow us if we give them stuff, and they will.
Yeah, but I think people they got more information today than they used to have those times, and they are they have seen what happened with them with the healthcare system when they were the COVID. Who were the one who dies and who were the one who had the
absolutely. It was overwhelmingly around the world. It was poor people that died.
Yeah,
it was not. There were very few rich people that died of COVID. Colin Powell, but he already had like 17 fucking diseases anyway. You know what I mean? Henry Kissinger survived though. Isn't that surprising?
He's still there.
He's still around. So
it's more difficult to manipulate the lower classes today, but they don't let them up. It's like They don't let them in.
But I think it's more difficult to communicate with them because they're so fucking busy. They just don't. They're not. The lower classes used to be more political, like in recent, like in the past, like in the like 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, like so you had like even like from where I'm from, like in the U.S. and in the in the parts of the world that I'm more familiar with, you had like really strong union movements in Europe, Western Europe, and in the U.S. and in Canada and stuff, and that's all been just completely fucking dissipated now. There's no more organized labor movement. I mean, how's that in Argentina and in is there more of a? I know there's more of like a sort of like a campesino movement in some countries, but I don't know about Argentina.
No, in Argentina, the worker unions are very, very strong. But
Yeah.
very, very strong. So you have to do everything through them. But they are losing power because the poor people is being informal, and the organized social movements are having their own factories, they have their own cooperatives, and they are not legally, they are not in the system.
Okay.
So they organize themselves because it's traditional in Argentina to people get self-organized. That's something like it's differential that the rest of.
And do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
It is a good thing because it kind of survive. You know, it's the only way to survive. Otherwise, the narco takes over. It's what happened in all the other countries. If the poor people don't organize to build their own jobs, the narco go immediately to take the place of the state. It's happening in all the world.
Yeah.
It
That's true.
happened in Mexico, in Brazil. There are countries which are no one talked like that, but they are in a proper civil war since 30 years. They are killing each other.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah. I'm glad you said it that way because it's like, we think of this like, what's going on is it is a civil war. It's not like
it is. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people like just the brutality of some of the shit that goes on in places like, like it happens in the U.S. as well. Not so much here in Western Europe, but in Mexico, for instance, like the narco fucking just. It is like fucking civil war because they've bought up half of the fucking police forces. Most of the police forces are bought up by the narcos. The police forces have no choice because the narcos are better armed and better equipped and they have more money than they do. And so yeah, it becomes a war between the narcos and the fucking people. And yeah.
Yeah, but they call them, for example, when they go walking through the states, they call economical refugees. What really they are running from civil wars.
Yeah.
Violence.
No, it's true. Yeah. No, I totally agree with that, and I've always agreed with that. And to call them economic migrants is just ridiculous. I mean, because they're
they don't have economy because they are in a war.
Yeah.
It's not possible to build a country when everybody's killing each other and.
Yeah. And the economy has been sort of it's such like rentier, like rental economy. It's like there's no, you can't start a business anymore. You can be like you can be like a tenant to a landlord, but you can't be your own. You have you don't have your own land. You don't have you know what I mean?
Entrepreneur. And another thing I was thinking when we were talking about the movements or the worker unions that before used to be more strong, and they were more strong because the world was wealthiest in primal material concept and environmental things we were not concerned about pollution and all this shit. And when you see now there are little towns even poor towns that they are fighting against mining. They don't want mining in their own towns because they say they cannot drink the water and things. It's a new
sort of environmental sort of organizational activism and stuff like that.
And before was the worker rights were important. The worker rights were in the mine. Now the important thing is don't mine.
But the workers, right? Those are. I mean, this is something that I've always been like, these are two of the same. These two are the same thing.
Yeah.
Environmental rights and workers' rights. They're the same thing.
It is. They are. Yeah.
They are the same thing. It's like, and this has been a concerted effort of like sort of the ruling class to divide those two, to sort of say, look at these crazy environmental people, look at these workers, and just to keep them to. It's sort of been always the tactic of the right, is to exploit the divisions in the left, and the left has always been like. I was listening to a thing about like Marx was saying the same thing in like 1850. He was saying the same exact thing. It's like the left is just so easily fractured because they have like this is my cause and this is my cause and becomes a sort of absolutism like but like what you said was like that the environmental rights and the fucking workers' rights. They're the same things because if the environment is fucked, then there's no fucking. You can't live.
They're the first one to.
And they're the first ones to pay the price.
Obviously, yeah, it's like that.
Yeah. Because I mean, I know, like, just from my own the example of my own country, it's like I know that like there's no fucking oil mining. There's like no oil rigs or anything in like nice parts of. There's oil rigs all over Los Angeles in the city and county of Los Angeles. There's oil wells, like those pumping oil wells, all over the fucking place. There's none in Beverly Hills, and there's none in Malibu, and there's none in fucking Pacific Palisades. but they're all over the fucking, all over the poorer fucking, South Central and fucking Compton and Watts and all those areas. Like the poor parts of Bakersfield, as far as Bakersfield, I know that's not Los Angeles, but it's like all the fucked up environmental shit is in the working communities.
Well, getting closer with that, you remember this gas deposit that make the earthquake here in Castellón?
No.
They got a problem with earthquakes like 3 years ago.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It was a platform that was a gas deposit that belongs to the president of Real Madrid.
Okay.
And because the thing, I don't know how do they store the gas, was in front of Castellón, a little town. There were earthquakes every day.
Wow.
So they destroy the houses of the people. So they have to close this deposit, but the government has to pay to the guy of Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Because he's losing business. And all the time when you see what the companies or the real economy says, we are not growing because the ecologists. It's because of them,
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I've seen this with the fucking with the oil crisis prices of petroleum and oil prices. It's because the crazy left-wing environmentalists have decided that we need to go to green energy. Look what happened now. The price of oil has gone up, but the price of oil has gone up because greedy fucking corporate fucking CEOs have decided to make more money.
Yeah, but Germany is promoting again the not green again. We're not green anymore.
No, we don't give a shit about that now.
No.
We're going to talk about that later. Right now, it's too important.
Yeah.
It's too important to bring the price of, like, to get Saudi Arabia. Joe Biden's in Saudi Arabia today.
Yeah.
It's too important to get, like, You said something interesting to me, speaking of the oil prices, about Bolivia, about inflation in Bolivia.
Oh, yeah. They have zero inflation now. It's the only country with no inflations. And when Evo Morales... That's not the president now. The president now in Bolivia is who used to be his Ministry of Economy.
Arce.
Yeah, Arce. Yeah, Luis Arce. And he been asked how do you handle to have your economy so predictable? Like I said, because I nationalize all natural resources.
There you go.
Yeah. So now I can manage the prices.
Yeah.
So it's because it belongs to the what they say. No, the Pablo. He got a name for it. It's like multicultural. He doesn't call the pueblo Bolivia. It's like a multi.
Okay.
Plurinational. He's a plurinational.
Plurinational. Okay.
Yeah, because he said there's two kind of people there. The people who come from families who are from 1,000 years and people who came recently. That they are different nations, and Bolivia is a plurinational.
Yeah. No, it's I just I found that interesting when you said this to me before about like why does Bolivia not have inflation? Because they nationalized the fucking. I mean, why can't every country do that? I mean, I don't understand why this has been my point all along for a long time. Like these resources are coming from the fucking ground. This is like isn't this ground and doesn't this belong to all of us?
Well, he gave a very clear example. He said. They have a lot of meetings with Koreans and Japanese who were interested in lithium to make batteries. So we say, why you don't come to Bolivia and make the batteries here? So we sell the lithium and you make the batteries here, so it's working for the people.
And you get the jobs
and
here and all this.
Yeah, and they refuse. So he said, I refuse to sell them the lithium, so we make our own state factory of batteries now. And they have like 70 factories.
Good. I mean, this is like, I didn't know that, and I think that's great because, these were always like, extraction like arrangements between extracting the minerals. So like, you extract the minerals, cause all the environmental damage in this place, and
give the jobs in the other place.
And give jobs to the other place, and the prosperity goes there. The resources and the resources come out of there, and the profit is extracted and brought to another place, and the only thing left behind is misery.
Even worse, because in that system, then Bolivia has to buy the batteries to the Koreans.
Yeah.
So all the profit goes to them. It's
I mean, this is why I remember Elon Musk in the coup back in, what was it, 2 years ago now? So it was 2019 now, wasn't it? It was 2019.
yeah.
Because I remember I was working with you met Cristiano,
Yeah.
the chef I was working with, and he's Bolivian, and you know, like that's a funny story actually. He was my second chef, Cristiano, Bolivian guy, and like at the week, I think it was October of 2019 was the coup, and he came in and he was like very upset. I was like, are you upset? He's like, man, my fucking family are over here from Bolivia. He's like, they're not going home. They're going to stay here now because of this fucking coup, man. They couldn't wait for like 1 week until they went home. So he's like, do you know, I like, yeah. So, but I remember like that Elon Musk coming out and saying like, we need the fucking lithium. We'll coup whoever we want.
Yeah. And he supported the coup d'état. He was glad to.
Yeah.
They called it was called the lithium coup d'état.
Yeah. And it's like again, it just brings home like we've kind of got this sophisticated world where we think that's different than it ever was, like 100, 200 years ago. But it is all about extracting resources. You know, the reason that we live so well here in Western Europe, and even comparatively, the poorest person here lives way fucking better than the poorest person, even in I'm sure, I mean, I don't know Argentina, but certainly Brazil, certainly fucking Bolivia, certainly, you know, like the poorest person here lives better because everything we get is taken from down there.
Oh yeah, I got an example for that because I work in an airport for many years. So one day he was an American guy. In fact, he came to buy a ticket to Bolivia. In fact, and he said, business class, because he asked me how much was a business class from Buenos Aires to La Paz. And I said certain amount of dollars. I can't remember how much. And said, it's not true. I said, no, it's true. And said, but if I buy this in America, it will be 200 euros or 100. And you're telling me like 700. And I tried to explain to him and said, you pay that because we pay this. So
yeah, exactly.
We are subsidizing your ticket.
Yeah.
Because we have less salary, we earn less money, and we pay more expensive service for the same thing.
Yeah.
But it was not well understood by the passenger.
No, I'm sure it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like my impression of it was always that like I remember there's a great painting by Diego Rivera.
Yeah.
And it's called Victoria Gloriosa. And it's a big one of his big murals that he did. And I just happened to be reading an article about it about 2 or 3 years ago, and they found it in a basement of a Russian museum in somewhere in Moscow. And Diego Rivera apparently gave it to I think he might have been Khrushchev as a gift or some shit like that. And it's a mural of the two CIA guys, the Secretary of State of America, John Foster Dulles, and the CIA, Alan Dulles, his brother, with the president of United Fruit Company and the president of Guatemala, and it was like Victoria Gloriosa de Capitalismo, and it was the thing of it, and how they had come in because the Arbenz government had wanted to make like just land reforms to say, and they'd gone in and said to all these farmers that were working for the United Fruit Company, 2 or 3 families, that listen, we're going to nationalize the land and reapportion it to the people. And I said, I'm going to pay you, what it's worth. And they were like, how do you know what it's worth? Well, because you gave us the tax thing, so we're going to give you what you're paying tax on. Your tax valuation, we're going to pay you that. And they're like, it's worth way more than that. I said, well, then we're going to start taxing you on what it's worth. It's like, no, it's not worth that, And it's like to try and like mix everything from like, we want everything that's good for us in our favor, but like everything that's bad for you also in our favor. Do you know what I mean? So they came in and basically they did a coup in Guatemala because they wanted Chiquita bananas to be cheap in the USA, and the 3 or 4 families that ran Guatemala's sort of farming plantation empire.
Yeah.
And the US was like 100% behind that, and you know what I mean. And anyway,
Well, that's why the consumer get supported. You know, it's like everything comes from somewhere.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was
yeah.
like something like took my attention first time I was in New York. It was when I went to the supermarket. You got those cookies or whatever, mainly cookies, and the cookies came in a very nice packaging, and inside there's a paper like explain you how to don't get poisoned by the thing because the law or whatever happened there, and then you have a tray with a cookie inside, and it was like 10 times cheaper than just a cookie in Argentina, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
And you say, how can be affordable
Yeah.
to these like 5 factories working to make it?
Exactly. It's like the lithium thing. So like you were saying about the lithium. So like Bolivia was supposed to make the lithium, mine the lithium, send the raw
Korea.
lithium, and then the batteries come back and you buy the batteries. It's like the same thing. Like when you know grow the grain, ship it there, and then they send back the cookie and like. But you could have made the cookie here with the grain. Yeah. So yeah, it's like essentially that our lack of understanding in this fucking part of the world in the West is how much we rely on cheap resources from the rest of the world.
Oh, but when you call, you say East, Western, and I include South American Western countries.
Yeah,
Because when you travel, you realize that you belong to this side, even
Yeah.
when you are the backyard of all the rest, you know.
Yeah.
And we also, when we compare South America with other poor countries, and say we think we are much better.
Yeah.
Because you are like the servants of the rich family, you know.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah.
we're still living in the house. We're
Yes.
We're-
I know what you mean. Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah, so like instead of having like, I've always heard like, I've heard the term, even when I was in college, we talk about the global south. And the global south, what are you to take that to mean everything under the equator? Well, like Australia's in the global south, Argentina's in the global south, South Africa was in the global south. So it's like, but India is not in the global south, but India was one of the countries that we talked about as being in the global south. It's kind of like an economic thing. It's like they try to make it geographical or racial or fucking, like this side or that side or the other side. And it's all about like, the class, who runs the country and who got into fucking, who managed to beat the shit out of the most people to take over the country and be in charge of the fucking thing.
it's only basically it's nature, you know. It's like we are like an overpopulated monkey where we need bananas all the time, you know. So and you are looking for them.
The thing that like that kills me about that is like, okay, we talk about that like social Darwinism, that the strongest one is always going to win, but like we never would have gotten here if it was only about the strongest one winning, because most of the time the strongest one was also the fucking stupidest one.
Yeah, but mainly they are psychopaths. So maybe the psychopaths are strongest.
But I mean, if
in this kind of society.
But exactly. That's what I mean. And like we would all be like a society of, if some of the, it's like the thing about I love this fucking like. We're getting way off the fucking topic here, but it doesn't matter anyway. one of my favorite little anecdotes of the fucking like of the natural world is the video. I was watching like a David Attenborough video of the bonobos. I'm sure I've told you the story before.
Yeah.
There's bonobos, right, which are like chimpanzees, but they're like sort of a more evolved.
It's like the Three Stooges. What's the name of?
Yeah. It's the Mo. They're the Mo.
No, like with a line in the middle of the head.
Yeah. Mo. That's Mo. Yeah. But but so the bonobos, like, so there was like, like the old sort of like biological thing is like the two strongest males would fight and they would have sex with the female. But this fucking video I watched years ago, it was a David Attenborough thing, I'm sure of it, and it's like the two big strong bonobos are fighting each other, right? And the sneaky little bonobo's up in the tree, and he's watching them, and they're getting distracted, fighting each other. He runs down and fucks the lady bonobo really, really quickly, and then runs back on top of the tree and pretends like nothing happened. Those are the fucking reason that we're still here. Because if the two fucking big, otherwise it would be like a whole fucking, the human race would be all like fucking, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ivan Drago, and Mr. T.
But once, if you continue with that, and we are. In fact, we are one of the 4 apes. You know, like bonobos,
Sure.
Yeah, and what we discover is weapons.
Yeah.
So once we discovered the weapons, there was the 2 strong guys, there was the sneaky one, And now it's the psychopath one that kill everyone.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and
and don't give a shit.
I think I think they're like, and they're running like very close in the race. So who's gonna win?
So I think as we can talk about science and what will happen this week. There's another of our expertise.
Okay,
And we
yeah.
have a couple of subjects or more. We have NASA's picture, monkeypox, which is called in Catalan is virola del mico,
Is it?
which is a very nice name. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got a gigantic submarine.
Viro del Mico.
Virola del mico.
Virola del Mico.
Yeah, that's a very nice name for a rock band.
Yeah. If I had a boat, I think I would name it Virola
Del mico.
del Mico.
And of course with the Bahamas flag.
Well, why not? I mean,
of
of course, goes without saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else we got this in science? Those is number 4 or 5 or 6.
Yeah, of the COVID thing. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man.
So the world is in progress.
I think we're getting there. We're finally getting there. I think. Yeah. All the shit that we talked about in the first part about like things being bad and fucked up and not really. I think science is going to make it all better.
Yeah, it's more optimistic.
The
It's the optimistic.
The James Webb telescope is going to fucking sort it all out for us, man.
Yeah, that's like it's confusing because you don't know if pictures are taken by a microscope or by a telescope.
This is true.
Because it looks like cells or
Could be, yeah.
or like amoebas.
Yeah, or like when like when you drop some oil in some water and it's really colorful and shit. Yeah, it could be that. Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be like Man in the Moon, a big fake thing.
I couldn't believe how excited people were getting about those pictures. I was like, I remember seeing pictures like that in fucking books when I was a kid. And this is what the universe looks like. And the pictures from the Webb telescope machine look exactly like the pictures in the book that they made up.
Marvel.
What?
Marvel Comics could the same.
It's unbelievable how they figured that out, man. You know what I mean? It's just unbelievable how they figured out. Like how prescient they were to see that space when they actually looked at it through a space telescope was going to look exactly like they made space look on a movie or a TV show a few years ago. Fantastic.
Yeah, but you know what? But make me think about
Could be.
because you see, if we are in the middle of a lot of bacteria, instead of to be in the middle of a lot of stars and things, because
It's true. Yeah. I mean, we could be. It actually could be like a bacteria universe of bacteria.
yeah,
That we live in the bacteria universe.
yeah, in a yeah, as you say, it's maybe we are in a bucket with oil.
This sounds like a fucking conversation. How I was like 14 years old the first time I smoked a joint.
To what?
This first time I smoked weed when I was 14, I
Yeah.
think I had this conversation about
You feel
oil and bacteria and
yeah,
being like part of the whatever. And yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah, I don't know. Science is gonna fix it all for us. I think.
Simpsons explained it very well. They make an universe in a tooth.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, with a king and everything, and Bart was the devil.
Of course he was. Yeah. But really.
And Orton, have you seen Orton? The
What's that?
cartoon. It's a movie. It's an animation movie about an elephant who get a seed in one of the ears, and the
Okay.
seed would hold universe. So
Okay.
the people of this,
So we could be living in a universe inside the ear of an elephant.
or even worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
we are
yeah,
lucky,
yeah.
we're in the ear of an elephant.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Unless one of like the Trump brothers decides to kill the elephant, and then where? Or the king of fucking Spain kills the
Yeah.
elephant. Imagine the king of Spain kills a fucking elephant, and inside that elephant's ear lived a universe in which like a whole fucking war. Imagine the fucking. This is the world we live in, man.
Well, the king can do that.
I mean,
But
it makes as much sense as like any other theories I've heard. It does, really.
True.
You know what I mean? I mean, the pictures and stuff are all great that they're putting up on Facebook and stuff. Those pictures are amazing.
Everybody replicating there because everybody became
It's amazing.
an astronomist. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
because all the experts who are experts in COVID then became experts in Ukraine war.
Oh yeah. Oh
and
sure.
now they are
now
expert-
they're now
now they are experts in
in
Space, outer space.
Yeah. Next week I don't know what's next week's expert fucking like. What's next week's graduating class of fucking professors in who knows?
No, they
what
call
the, fuck, man?
the experts.
The experts. Yeah,
It's not
sure.
professor. It's what they call is now we are calling an expert.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
an expert
yeah.
is they find an expert immediately, and it's about what's going on. And sometimes it's the same guy
Yeah.
that is an expert in everywhere, in everything.
I kind of count myself as one of those people. I pretty much know everything about everything. And
you are.
So if you ask me about anything, I have an opinion on it. And usually I think my opinion's right, so doesn't that make me an expert?
That's your name, isn't it?
It's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
It's the point, man.
yeah. It's mentioned. It's
Yeah. It's like, I mean, who are you going to go to? You're going to ask wrong? No, you're going to ask right. Get the fuck out of here, man. It's the fucking one, man. Jesus Christ, man. It's that simple. It does what it says on the tin, as they say. You know what I mean?
That's it. And another news was they are like radio waves coming from outer space today.
Just today.
It was today.
Okay.
I haven't read it properly because it was a new, very fresh news.
Okay. Was it breaking news?
It was breaking news, yeah.
Okay,
and it
okay.
was like
Yeah.
supposed to be someone sending
What kind of
us-
radio? FM, AM?
I don't know because
long wave.
no,
shortwave?
what we assume all the time when we talk about space as experts of space,
Mm.
it's like the other civilizations are more advanced than us.
Okay.
So and they try to help us,
Okay.
and they are the same size of we are,
Right.
and and they try to communicate. But as our friend James says, we cannot even talk with our dogs, and we pretend to talk with
This is true. Yeah.
outer space people.
I've always made the contention that, okay, so you've got a dog, right? And so you have the dog for however long you have the dog, right? When you go to the park with the dog and you throw the ball and the dog brings the ball back, gives it to you, you throw the ball again, the dog goes and gets the ball and brings it back to you. Who trained who? Did you train the dog to get the ball, or did the dog train you to throw the ball? That's always been a question I've asked.
That's philosophy. This is
No, it is
philosophical.
philosophy. No. No, I don't know about that. Or did the dog train you?
No, it's very
I
polemical.
don't know about that. I think the dog likes running. Like that's what dogs like to do. So the dog has trained you to throw the ball so it can repeatedly run back and forth for the. I don't know. This is the thing. I mean, this is a question. This is a question we've been asking ourselves since the dawn of time.
People is not listening what you are saying about the dog. So it's only being.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. So I'm an expert. Because I'm an expert. Yeah.
You don't need to listen.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like when you see somebody come in, I can't. I'm not going to do the joke because it's a fucking Jerry Seinfeld joke. But like I thought of it fucking first, but I'm not going to do the joke about carrying the shit around in a bag. But it's a good joke about who's in charge.
The dog.
The dog. You know what I mean? You see a dog carrying your shit
I
around.
have an issue with that coming back for environmental things, because something I talk to people every time I'm drunk is who before the dogs used to shit.
Yeah.
So it was biodegradable and environmental
It's pretty,
friendly.
pretty fucking organic and environmentally friendly. Yeah.
It's disgusting, but it was good for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
environment. But lately, what is correct is like the dogs eat shits plastic.
Yeah.
So every time they shit, we throw a plastic back to the environment.
Yeah, we pick up the dog's shit, which is biodegradable, but
With
we
a hand.
put it in a plastic that isn't biodegradable.
Yeah, and against our own nature, like your own brain say, don't do that because it's disgusting.
I've been saying this for years. It's the dogs are fucking the planet up. This is it, man.
They're polluting the planet.
The dogs have fucking convinced us that we're supposed to pick up their shit and carry it around in plastic bags.
Probably.
That's all I'm saying.
No, I think it comes from a business school. Like when they ban the plastic bag in supermarket, they say, I got an idea to sell plastic bag.
Not a bad
bags.
point. Yeah,
Let's make the dogs shit, and people pick the shit with a hand.
Having
And
said that, I do remember New York City, like in like 1976 and 77, when I was only a kid. It was pretty fucking disgusting because there was dog shit everywhere.
I
It's
know.
nice when they picked it up.
But at the same time, if you see someone picking shit with a hand, it will be even more disgusting, and
Yeah,
probably
it's true.
this guy will go to the mental asylum immediately
Probably.
for mental issues.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, I think if in 1976, when I was a kid, if you'd seen somebody pick up their dog shit, even with a bag, they would have been taken. Listen, this guy needs help. We've got to bring him back.
And he goes against his own health because he's picking shit with a hand.
They were selling these things in New York when because they put in a law that said you had to. There was a fucking hit song in New York called "Scoop the Poop." I'm not kidding. Google it. YouTube. I think it might be on YouTube. Scoop the Poop, and it was about picking up your dog's shit because a law came in 1976 or 77 in New York, and they made these things. There was no plastic bag involved, but it was like a thing that when the dog shit, you just scooped it and it had like a trigger on it, and then you dumped it in the rubbish thing because you would get like a ticket, like a multa.
And why this thing is not coming back?
Actually, when I had 3 dogs, when I was living out in we had one because cleaning up after 3 dogs, if you bend over to pick up the dog shit every time, your back would be fucked. Especially when you get up in years like we were.
Yeah.
So we had like a scoop thing that with like a thing. Yeah. They still make them. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It should be a law for that again.
I think so. Yeah.
Because I cannot even see people picking the shit with a hand. It makes me feel sick. They're going against my. I know the people is doing the correct thing. They are very good vecinos, very good neighbors, and they are taking care of me somehow.
Yeah, they're killing the planet with the bags of dog shit, though.
It's full of them.
Yeah.
But face masks have done the same thing.
Yeah, it's true. You know what? They should pick up the dog shit with use face masks. So once you finish the face mask, you pick up the dog shit with the face mask.
Or you can pick the shit with the mouth, with the face mask on, and will be even better. Yeah.
There you go. Just walk around with the shit and okay.
Yeah.
That's.
So you use the face mask. Yeah. The face mask have two different things to do. So you don't. You ban the plastic bags to the environment.
Okay. So listen, I think we've gone a bit fucking off the fucking rails here with the show that we were. Yeah. Well, I had this idea, and we've talked about this idea before, but today wasn't a great representation of what I thought we were going to do. But I would like to. No, I'm not canceling. I'm just like this is like a this is like the what do you call the debut show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the pilot. And so we're gonna put it out there for like audience reaction and shit. But like the idea was, and I think we talked about this. Maybe it was I got it more in my head, but like that we would talk about like life and politics and shit in South America. But possibly people want to hear about people picking up dog shit with their mouth in a mask.
It's more interesting.
It could be more interesting. I don't know. Anyway, so
or maybe it's next law.
Could be, yeah. Anyway, that was fun, and I was a bit nervous in the beginning because you didn't see, I'm sitting here with my back to the wall, and I'm looking out at the front door, and Pablo's got his back kind of not really back towards everybody, but he couldn't really see everybody. But in the beginning, it was just me and Pablo talking, and everybody was staring at me, and for a very, very strange for me, but I felt really nervous. And anyway, so I got a little bit nervous. Anyway, so it was fun. And we'll definitely do it again. We'll definitely do it again. Yeah. So
we've got more science things.
We'll do more science stuff for sure, man.
Yeah.
Do more science stuff.
I think we clarify a lot of people that
do you know what?
Yeah.
So I think we'll do like the current events, like South America current events thing for the first segment of the show, and then we'll pick a domestic animal. Next week it'll be cats. So we'll pick domestic animals to shit all over and like destroy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, because the world is divided in cat owners and dog owners and maybe
exactly.
The people who got dogs
sounds good.
The cat people are offended. Somehow.
So the cat people feel left out this week. They do. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, man. Well, thanks. And
thanks to you.
see you next time.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.